So let's talk about 30, 60, 90 triangles. A 30, 60, 90 triangle. Notice that sometimes they don't even give you the 60, but you know that that has to be 60, right? Because that you know that these two have to add up. So these two right here have to add up to 90. So if you have a right angle and you know 30 or 60, the other one has to be 30 or 60. The opposite. Got it? All right. What if I drew this exact same triangle right here? The exact same 30, 60 triangle right here. Does that look like about the 30, 60? Does that look about right? What if this was 30 and this was 90 and this was 60?
180.
What kind of triangle would I have here?
Equilateral.
I would have an equilateral triangle. Does that make sense? So let's say that this side right here was X. Then so is this, right? And so is this, right? Which means, what's this red side right here?
Which one?
What's this red side right here? What's that have to be? If that whole thing is X on the bottom,
It has to be half.
it's got to be half of X. That's the reason the relationship is always in this triangle. I'm going to erase this now.
I'm so smart.
The relationship is always, whatever this biggest side is right here, the smallest side is half of it. That's the reason. Now, to go from here to this medium length side, what you have to do is multiply it by the square root of 3. I can explain that to you with Pythagorean theorem, but I don't want to get into the algebra. But just trust me, to go from here to here, you multiply by the square root of 3. So this is root 3 over 2 times x, if they gave you this side. Now, what if they gave you this side down here? What if they told you instead, hey, this side down here
It's 2.
is
Be
2.
divided by the square root of 3.
It's 2.
If they give you this is the hardest one. If they said this is 2, let's say, to go from there to the smallest side, instead of multiplying by root 3, what's the inverse of multiplying by root 3? I would divide by root 3.
Yeah, but then how do
So
you
this is
simplify
2 over root 3. Got it?
How do you simplify 2 over
So now let's talk about how you simplify that. 2 over root 3. Simplifying 2 over root 3, I multiply by. One of the ways to simplify a radical is make sure you don't have a radical in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by root 3 on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, I remember doing this.
Why would I want to do that, you ask? Because this becomes 3. And do I have a radical anymore on the bottom? Which is good. So it's 2 root 3 over 3. So this
that side
equals
would be
2 root 3 over 3. And now how do I get from the smallest side to the biggest side?
Times by 2.
Always do what to go from the smallest and the biggest in a 30, 60, 90? You multiply by 2. So how do I multiply it by 2, though? A lot of people don't know this. Well, they know what to do, but they don't do it right. What does multiplying by 2 mean?
Multiplying by 2 over 1.
That's right. It's multiplying by 2 over 1, which equals what?
You have to cross multiply.
This is where people get confused. Do I cross multiply? Do I multiply the 3 and the 2 by it? Well, what does this mean? It means 2 is multiplying the top and 1 is multiplying the bottom. So I'm going to have a 3 on the bottom. And what's 2 times 2 root 3?
4 root 3.
That's right. It's just 4 root 3. You don't put it inside the radical. You just multiply the two numbers on the outside. So there's your answer.
4 root 3 over 3. Can I cancel out or no?
Is there anything that can cancel out of there?
No.
There is not, so that's it, and you're done. Now, let's do another one. You ready? What if they gave you this instead? What if they gave you this was, I don't know, let's say 7.
Then you do
divide.
7 divided by 2 to find that
To
side.
find
and
this
that
one,
side times square root of
It's
3.
just 7 divided by 2, and to go here, so this is divided by 2 to go here,
So
and
then
it's
you had to
times root 3 to go there. So it's 7 root 3 over 2, and there you go. Those are your answers.
And let's say like those
So remember, going from the smallest to the biggest, it's always either times 2 or divided by 2. And going from the medium to the smallest, it's always either times root 3 or divided by root 3, depending on which way you're going. Okay, now let's do the 45, 45, 90. There's a similar relationship, but it's even easier when it's a 45, 45, 90. It's even easier because a 45, 45, 90. And again, they won't tell you all three of them. They'll just say the 90 degree and they'll say 45 degree. And you just have to know. The relationship is simpler because these two are always equal to each other. So if this is A, then so is this. And the relationship between these, instead of the square root of 3, it's the square root of 2. So to go from the smaller to the bigger, would I multiply by the square root of 2 or divide?
Multiply.
From the smaller, see how this is smaller than this side?
You would multiply.
I would multiply by root 2. And to go from here to there, I would divide by root 2.
Wait, so let's say A is...
So for example,
4.
let's say A is 4.
Then would the other side be 4
Then the other
also?
side would also be 4.
But it wouldn't be the 4
And this
square
side
root.
would be, the big side would be
4 square root
4
of 2.
root 2.
That's it?
That's it. That's all you
That's
got to
so
do.
easy.
It is easy, but then it gets tricky because people do stuff like this. They say, hey, what if this was 4 here?
Then you divide by.
Then it's 4 over root 2, but you're not done because what do you have to do?
Simplify.
What do you have to do in order to simplify?
You can't have a radical on the bottom.
You can't have a radical on the
You have
bottom.
to times it by.
Square root
The
of
square root.
Mhm.
square root of 2.
And you get
You
2
get
on the
2
bottom, and you
over
get
square
4
root of 4.
root 2 on the top, but you're not done
Because 2 and 2 can cancel.
because this 4, not,
No,
no,
it's 4 and 2 can
4
cancel.
and the 2.
2 square root 2. 2 square root
it's 2 root 2. So this is also 2 root 2. Done.
Shit.